All right, everybody, hello. Welcome to episode 131 of Dissonant Waves. My name is Dominic. Ritz and Tricks are here.
Indeed.
Hello, welcome to the post-Eurovision episode.
Kick flips have been done, heel flips have been attempted, and here we are at the other end.
Actually, no, I gotta ask this question before we start on this. Do either of you actually watch Eurovision?
No.
You're missing out on some of the greatest fucking troll music you ever hear in your life.
I just follow a bunch of people on Twitter who watch it, and
No, you don't follow the Europeans who get actually emotionally invested in it. You follow it like the Australians do, where we laugh at a lot of the shit that happens. Like, I'm still pissed Croatia did not get high on the voting this year. I voted for them because they had this like political pop punk feminist group that basically just went out in their fucking underwear.
Hell yeah.
I love that.
And instead we got a fucking Kate Bush wannabe as the winner.
Sounds about right.
Speaking of winners, this week we have quite a number of picks, in a sense. We have from Tricks, Double Hell Death Matches 2021 from Ritz. We have Jerome's Dreams, The Gray in Between. And from me, I did a little compilation that we've, I guess, agreed to call now. That's what I call Dominic Volume 1.
Yes.
My little experiment of sending in blank songs and seeing if y'all could fill in the blanks and figure out who they are and what they're by.
And how long did it take me to finish it all?
A day.
Yeah, around a day. I think the whole idea was that me and Trix were supposed to talk with each other, try and get as much information out of each other as we possibly could, and that Dominic was not going to validate. But I got it all done in around 24 hours. Sent it to Dominic and said, "Here you go, I'm finished." And he couldn't even bother trying to keep a straight face because it was 100% correct.
I have no idea who any of these artists are. I'm going to be honest. I only listened to this a couple times because fuck, did I have a brutal week.
Well, I mean,
Well,
that's interesting at least.
Yeah, I'm going to ask for each song now, and I'm with Dominic. What you think the artist is, Tricks? Because there is definitely one that is going to piss you off that you didn't get.
Yeah, I have no idea who any of them are. I'm going to be fully honest.
Is that including the very last song on here?
I'm gonna guess that I've never heard I don't know if it's the original version of This Is America. I have no idea.
We'll get there when we get there.
We'll get there. But that one was the most popular out of all the ones on.
Yeah.
Yes. But, I mean...
we're starting off with now, this is Dominic, so...
Yeah, we might as well start.
Yeah.
Alright, well, let us start from the top then. Oh, well, I should say... Ritz, since you got it all correct, you can indeed take me up on what I said last time, and you can pick my selection, not for the next episode, but for next week.
Yeah.
So, you get the prize.
That's beautiful.
You can pick whatever you want me to contribute to the podcast.
But for now, we're talking about the stuff that you have contributed to this podcast, and we'll go up with the first song on here, which was... surprisingly the hardest one for me to get out of all of them. And this is the one that I kind of hated myself that it took me so long, because I do actually know the band well enough. Yes, that's the first spoiler here, Tricks. It's a band.
Okay.
Well enough on there, but it's actually a single that I never listened to, and it's so wildly different to the rest of their discography that I've heard that I just didn't quite get it for a while, into a lot of just searching through for the shit that I knew Dominic liked, so picked and stuff at the podcast and all that, until finally I found one that fucking matched. I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, this is the one that took the day pretty much. The other one you got pretty quickly.
The other ones I got like in probably 2 hours or something like that.
Yeah. This is indeed...
that's pretty wild knowing some of them, but some of them are just surprisingly easy to find.
Yes. But this is Algiers and their single, Can the Sub Bass Speak?
And for a while, I was like, is this injury reserve or some shit?
No. That is interesting connection.
Even though I sent over 30 seconds of the start of this song to the person who actually picked my pick for this week, basically. who is incredibly into the whole jazz, rap, hip hop, experimental hip hop scene just worldwide, and he didn't even know the song. So it's not the song that's really known in that, because Algiers isn't really known in the hip hop scene.
No, they have their soul punk thing, and that seems to be their lane and what they like to do. And this song is kind of about that. This is a very like free jazz spoken word piece that's more about like Algiers as a band and like how people are reacting to their music, right?
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
I think it's a good song to put. I think it's a great song to do like this, especially in that tone. But I also think it's something that they should never do again in this thing. I think it works for what they're speaking on in this, but I don't really want to see them really explore this again when the other sound that they're exploring is a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I mean they have their stake pretty set out of like doing that like influence of like gospel, soul, punk, you know, and kind of a little bit of jazz in there, and having this be different. I think is why it is a single in the end, right? It's just so different from what they've done. But I think it would be foolish not to release it.
Yeah,
and it's just interesting. It's like a tone piece. It's kind of a good opener, which is why I picked it as the opener of just like it throws you into this world of just people talking, right? And it's just like, why do you sound like this? Why are you doing this? And then it just goes through like all these different things that ostensibly white people are saying to them, and what other people in like the black community are saying to them, and just all the naysayers essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And a certain line that gets repeated that I probably can't repeat myself due to being a white man, but it's a common line that is said throughout the opening 3 minutes of the song.
Yeah, it's basically being like, you don't know how to act.
Yeah.
But not that exact quote.
Yeah, there's a word in there. There's an N word in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably the worst I've ever danced around one of those, but anyway.
It's the word that we replace with neighbor when we're singing the song.
Oh,
neighbor. I thought baby would be better, but
you've never heard the neighbor clause?
No.
It's whenever there's a song with the N-word in it, you say neighbor instead, and it fits perfectly.
Interesting. Okay.
Suddenly I see a neighbor that I don't like. Yeah, that does work.
I still think baby works pretty well too.
4 years into the podcast, and you guys are learning about the neighbor rule.
Yeah, no, I've never heard that. Granted, we don't have much songs that use the N word here. I think Chisholm probably used it the most for a while there. We got a lot of Western Sydney rappers who use it, despite none of them really having that heritage in there. It's kind of weird. Like, we kind of just accept them using it, but I don't think they actually have the heritage to use it. But
Sure.
whatever. Like the people from Tonga weren't really called that. They're called other stuff.
Yeah.
But this is a great example of like how I was thinking about composing this playlist, and that I like essentially for most of this list has been flipped from what I originally had it being. Some of the stuff remains the same, but like this was gonna be last originally, and I think it fits better being the first thing you hear.
Yeah.
And I also kind of made it so that if you were to play it on loop, it would kind of fit pretty well if you were to kind of just go back from the beginning to the end again, or from the end to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, I didn't try that. I didn't try that, but I can get it because obviously there was some similar styles in First and 16 here. It's 16 song track list.
But also the middle, if you split apart the middle, it should also create a kind of an even break point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's the first track. Going on to the next track then. Ritz, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, this one really easy actually. So it wasn't one of the ones that I got in first skim. I got 3 songs in first skim. Obviously one of them is the last song, very simple, and the other 2 I'll mention as they come on here. So this one was kind of very similar as I was going on to there. And this is one of the first times in which I was going and saying like, all right, let's look at the playlist that I've had for all the albums, all the EPs, all the everything that we picked over the podcast, and let's go and see if we can find a match. And unsurprisingly, because I've gone from top to bottom here, Dominic, it was very, very quick to finding a match on this one.
Yes.
I'm wondering if this is helping Trix a little bit understand who this is.
No fucking clue. My mind's a total blank right now, but I'm also just brain dead.
You remember that week in which I picked a very, very popular artist in Australia that Dominic had a hot take on?
Is it got ya?
It's not got yet. It's not got yet, but it's from the same week. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Fuck.
It's
I was
Aidan
doing
Alexander.
Yes, this is Aidan Alexander,
Gotcha.
who I compared to Troye Sivan originally because Aidan Alexander only had a few singles out, and since 2019 he's put out 3 more songs. That is also a hint. But
Hard worker.
yes, this is The Hills, and he has still, to my knowledge, still promised an album of some sort will be dropping eventually. So
I mean,
7 singles in.
ever is a long time. No time at all.
We've been waiting for this album since the podcast started.
Yes.
No, well, Dominic has been waiting. I'm happy, kind of just like doing my own thing, and if it comes out, it comes out. But yeah, this is still as boring as it was 4 years ago. Shit.
I like this one. I like the string kind of kissed element of it. I like I like the shock comparison of like having this like really interesting free jazz like song about politics and identity, and then having the most like brain dead intentional song you can think of just portraying Hollywood as this vapid wasteland of just like who the fuck cares.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't know. His vocals bore me, man. I don't know what else to say.
that's fair. I mean,
I don't think he sucks at. Maybe I was harsher for a couple of years ago. I don't know. I can't remember my fucking take, but I don't know. It's just not interesting to me. It's not that it's untalented or anything like that. It's not even that the songs are really poorly crafted or anything like that. It's just there's enough out there that sounds like this.
that's a
And I don't think it gets more interesting. I think this just exists and it's not. It's just not interesting. It's been done.
I still think his song Guts was his most interesting because of how it went for that dark mode type of feel, more that more sexual type of feel, and now we're kind of just in the era of just the world's ending, people are stupid.
I'll give him that picking Alex Boniello all those months ago has made me appreciate Aidan Alexander that tiny bit more.
That's actually a praise I will take.
Yeah.
Tricks, any
when you've heard worse.
The what?
Anything
Any
on Aidan
opinions?
Alexander, The Hills?
It's okay.
Okay. So let's move on to the next one. This next artist was sort of the inspiration behind doing this playlist. Not for this song specifically, but for some of the other songs that may be coming up soon.
I've got to ask a question, Dominic.
Yes.
Where the fuck did you find this, and why do I feel like the answer would be a sauna?
I'll Never Let You Go by You're Pretty. So actually, You're Pretty is the side project of TikToker rapper I Am J Kill. And
I have no idea who that is.
Me,
That's a lot of context I'm missing on this one.
he's just like some TikToker emo rapper guy. And he's like a straight guy. And his song, he created the song Keep Riding Me to be an intentionally corny, silly song with the idea of like, oh, people are going to look back on this in 50 years and they're going to cry remembering how amazing the song was, and you listen to it, it's literally about fucking riding me. And that became a weird side project for a second for him.
So, you know what? This is going to be even a bad take. I usually am not the one who says this kind of stuff, but I didn't do any research. I just assumed this is a bit all truthful. Knowing that he's not gay makes me kind of hate it a bit.
I thought it was fun. I like the idea of like, or supposedly straight. You never truly know with other people because you're not that.
Yeah.
But like that someone was willing to commit this hard to the bit, and I'll Never Let You Go is probably the most anonymous one of the three. It's not the most explicit. It's not the most anything. It's just kind of like a kind of a generic emo love song.
It exists.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's there.
It's one of those like, yeah. I mean, when I was saying I hated a bit, it's not like I hate the song or anything like that, but it's kind of like I'm wondering if I should be a bit irked. This is supposed to be kind of like a whole joke about that, but it's not really in my place, I guess, to say anyway.
I mean,
But
you could definitely take it as that, I suppose. Like, you could take it as the offensive, like, oh, he's making fun of us kind of thing.
to spoil what else gets and what's into this, the songs where he's more explicit are more interesting because they're memorable. There's a certain pseudoscience, we'll call it, to just wordplay, I guess, where stuff that is completely out there is more likely to stick in your mind than something that's a lot more realistic or a lot more blacker, I guess we'll call.
Yeah.
In the terms of it, and this one falls under the more black comedy aspect than it would a shock comedy. And when it's seemingly that comedy is what's driving this, you're not going to remember the black comedy as much as the shock comedy. Whether or not it's better is a different thing, but I wasn't really paying too much attention when there was so much else to cover. This one was just like there.
Yeah, this one was kind of there, and again, sequencing, right? There were 3 songs that you put out for this project, and it's like, I might as well include all 3. I'm not going to just leave one, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, this one sounds like it could go with anything else, and I feel like if I sequenced it the right way, it would just kind of pass you by, and then you would hear a similar sound again, and they'd be like, oh, this is something else. So trying to kind of layer in a surprise of sorts. Or at least
It's
catch
there.
you off guard. Yeah.
It's there.
But more interestingly, I think, is the next track, which is, I think, the newest one on here.
Yeah, so this is the ding 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 moment in which I say I got this immediately on Skim, where I think it was 2 seconds in, I was like, all right, that's this.
Yes.
Chicks, do you recognize the band out of track number 4?
I forget what track number 4 is. Give me just a second.
It is the one you saw the picture.
There is no, it's a different one, but
No, she saw the picture. She called it out at the end of the episode last time.
Yeah, I'm staring at the picture right now. The blurry white figure with the yellow slide.
Yes.
No clue.
It is Carly Cosgrove.
That explains why I liked it so much.
Which is what, obviously, we covered them a bit ago. I chose See You in Chemistry.
Yeah.
Probably around a year ago, to be honest, at this point.
A little less than that, but yeah.
Yeah, I immediately just like heard the second, and I was like, "Yep, no, that song."
Yeah, that's Lucas. That's his folks.
Yeah, he's got a pretty. It helps when you're doing this kind of thing to realize just how kind of distinct certain vocals can get.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a pretty distinct vocal, not a distinct vocal style, just his actual vocals themselves are pretty distinct. So it's a medium one. This is a very, very catchy single. I don't think it's as good as Really Big Shrimp or Headaches or that, but I think it's a catchy little single.
I'm so curious if it's a B-side or if it's a single for a new cycle, because it doesn't seem to be very clear whether it's one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're probably just throwing it out there. It could be a part of a new cycle, could be a B-side. I would theorize it as part of a new cycle, but it's a cycle that's in development.
Yeah, we don't know, right? And that's kind of the fun of, like, it just exists on its own right now. It could be on something, it might not be.
Yeah.
But
which is fair. I mean, that used to be a very old way of releasing music back in the day, is that you would put out a single, start testing it out at live shows and stuff like that, and if it was doing well, you would put it on the album.
And
yeah,
I don't know this necessarily if it's as built out as some of the songs I liked on See You in Chemistry. Of course, I kind of veered toward songs like Headaches or the final track, the titular track, that was a lot more developed and emotional and intense. But this is a bit more of your regular kind of fifth wave emo type of style.
There is sawdust in the engine.
Which I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
It means that there's fucking sawdust in the engine.
Well,
It's not telling you what he means.
Sawdust in oil used to be like an old Carsman's sale trick. Like make it run clearer or something, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay. Oh, so it's more about, so it's like a used car salesman angle, perhaps, of like some kind
Maybe.
of almost like a snake oil salesman, or
Yeah,
something shifty.
the only reason I know this is because it was a plot point in the book Matilda.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Oh yeah, I forget. Yeah, because because the father in there.
He's a
literally
used car
told-
salesman. Danny DeVito.
Yeah, and he tells his son in the book as well. What he does and all the maths that he's doing to get the sawdust into there, and it's just enough actual oil in there to get the person far away that they can't come back and complain.
Yep.
Okay, so that helps.
Yeah, great book.
Explain a little bit. That takes it a little bit different direction than I expected, perhaps. But again, I didn't study the lyrics well enough to be like have a full, consistent viewpoint of what the song's supposed to be. But it's a catchy enough little track.
Yeah.
I mean, if I actually look at the full lyrics to this as well, I think the next line is actually about yeah, there is sawdust in the engine, keeps the engine ripe to sell.
Ah, that's what that is. Okay.
Yeah.
Keeps it running well. Do. That's a nice little moment there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A very catchy little single. I do hope it is a part of the cycle and that we get a bit more from it. We didn't quite get as an emotional vocal performance as we did on some of the other singles from See You in Chemistry, but we just wait and see what happens with this one.
Yeah, I mean, you need a lot of variety of songs to make an album.
Yeah, so, shall we move on to... Oh, you want to say something before we move on?
I was saying, if they get away from referencing Nickelodeon for everything, I will be happy with that. But if they also want to reference it more, that's fine. It just seems like if they're going in a new direction, that seems like the way to go.
Dominic has not watched the 20 hours of iCarly and Victorious content that are out there by one person.
No, I have not.
Oh, yeah, I know of that. It's pretty fucking in-depth.
I have watched them all several times. I'm not even gonna lie.
Was this
That's
like
fair.
AI generated or something?
No, it's
Nope.
not. It's one guy who just like is like, I'm gonna sit down and watch every episode of iCarly. That turns into, oh shit, I gotta talk about Sam and Cat, but in order to talk about Sam and Cat, I gotta talk about Victorious. And he's still working on Sam and Cat Part 2.
Okay, interesting.
And this was so that he could talk about the reboot of iCarly back when it started coming out.
Yeah, actually, I'm just fucking trying to find the fucking thing, but someone actually was posting it a while ago, and I'm trying to find it. It's it's Clinton, isn't it?
Yeah, Quentin Reviews.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, someone else on another Discord was talking about it. I was really finding it from there. Anyway,
Track
shall we move on to
5.
track 5? Ding, 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 ding. Got this on Skim.
Because you already heard it.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I might have posted this or something like that. Actually, maybe in the Discord. Let me check. No, actually, no. You were the one who initially posted it, but yeah. Trix, were you able to tell anything about this song?
Other than I liked it, nope.
I want to know the reason you liked it.
Sure.
It's Stomach Book.
Yeah, that's why I liked it.
It's also her friend in there as well. It's in a band called Death Do Us Apart. The song is called I Spat Blood at God. It's their debut single. Yeah, I listened to it when it came out, and the line of my ovaries that they talk about it was a very memorable line that I'm like,
Yes.
oh yeah, that's with this song.
Mm-hmm.
It surprisingly reminds me of L. Ron Hubbard Was Way Cool in a sense. Something about the instrumentation.
It
has
definitely
that vibe.
feels like, yeah, well, L. Ron Hubbard feels like a song that's like developing, and this feels like a song that's developing as well. That's a very simple vibe, I guess. Simple description I can put in for it as well.
Yeah, it's a little it's out there for sure compared to everything else here. It's very DIY aesthetic. It's very non-typical. I don't know quite how to describe it exactly. It's not atonal, but the lyrics you don't quite understand all of them all the time, and it's striking out to do its own thing. That's even different from the Summer Book
it's a
album.
Scrams project. That's exactly how they describe it.
It's a Scrams project.
It's just a screamo release. I didn't expect anything else other than that, and we got one of it. And I don't think it's on par with Stomach Book. I don't think it's quite easy to put it in the same kind of conversation just because of how different they are. But this one, it doesn't feel as experimental as it does just feel like a fun little start to a project. I mean, things are going to start somewhere anyway. And obviously, Stomach Book actually just recently celebrated 1 million streams on Animals, which is quite an achievement, I think.
Oh yeah.
How many streams did she have when we reviewed? It's not high. It's not
No,
high.
because we caught on to her like a month or two in, right? So that was a
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
ago. This is like
And
a year and a half later.
yeah, so there's starting to be a bit of buzz around her, and to put on with how much of an achievement that is, Homer's Where doesn't have 1 million streams on a song.
Nope.
Does Origami Angel have 1 million streams?
Origami Angel has 1 million streams on a lot of songs.
Okay.
Their current top 3 is 7.6, 6.1, 2.9.
But like Bigger Bird doesn't have 1 million streams yet.
No, of course not.
Mhm.
Bigger
Yeah.
Bird doesn't even have like 5,000 streams.
Yeah, that's fine. They're missing out.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
like,
she-
to get to 1 million streams is an absolute fucking achievement on any song.
And yeah, and she seems like she's in a different place in her life now. Apparently, she's living in Oklahoma with some friends.
Oh, so
With some
she's
partners.
literally in a different place.
Yeah. So, it seems like her relationship with her art is progressing.
Mhm.
Because it seemed like for a while she didn't really want to do anything. So I'm glad that she's making something.
Yeah, it seems some of the more recent stuff that she's put out seems to have been a bit more collab based as well. Like she's got this out as well. She put out Devil Nobody last year with Zombie. She's also been working with a bunch of those artists doing the cover art for some of that stuff as well. There's an appearance that she did on a real internet album, just looking at the Spotify appears on and stuff like that. So it definitely looks like she's in a place where she's making stuff with her friends, whether that be the music or the art or just collaborating anyway. And it's a perfect position to be in. This is the kind of first proper collab band that she's done.
And she, of course, covered L. Ron Hubbard Was Way Cool.
Yes, on the Homer's Where compilation EP.
Yes. Which I didn't even put together that connection until just now. So just have it on the brain, I guess.
Hell yeah.
I always love that song. But yeah, so Carly Cosgrove and this are kind of your first entrance here into the singles that could be on your cycle, our little December to November method here. But now we go back to You're Pretty with Hit My Spot for track 6.
Yeah, let me get the lyrics up for this. We're truly staying in the closet with this one.
Yeah, this was the song. This was the song my friend introduced me to, because I had heard Keep Riding Me before. But this is the song he introduced me to. I'm like, oh, okay, there's something going on here. I wish we could cover this somehow. How can we cover this?
Hey boy, can you come a little closer? Love you even more when you're bending me over. Don't be shy, look me in the eyes. I can't get this kind of feeling from just any other guy. I said, hey boy, can you go a little rougher? We can get sweaty, you can make me suffer. Damn, I love it, but I hate it when you go. Stay a little longer, make me curl my toes again. Yes, that line's in this part of the song where I'm going like, I really wish they would do more. I really wish we could get something like Little Nas X on Montero, where it just goes full in from the start. But then, like, right afterwards, we get, oops, I get way too damn horny. Boy, we're turning right into a slutty love story, sucking him off till the sun comes off. Now he's gripping my cock, think I'm about to nut. And that's just suddenly out of fucking nowhere. It's like, all right.
Yeah. It's a little beat switch.
Right. that straight up, that wish I had got fulfilled very fucking quick.
Yeah.
But I also think that some of those lines are also indicative that this comes from a more straight perspective.
Yeah.
I don't know who's gonna say let's get a little, or let's get sweaty, make me suffer exactly like that, or to quite say I'm about to nut like that. Also, I feel like those are more straight things people say. In general, not saying that queer people can't say those things, but if I was a straight man seriously trying to consider how to write gay love songs, that might be stuff I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels more for shock value, and I think it's a bit more understandable, because I was trying to understand like why I wasn't so into this as I was Little Nas X, and I feel like Little Nas X, whilst it was definitely shocking what he said, it still came out of a genuine place of passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do,
and
like
I don't hate it, but I just don't think it hits the same like that does.
That's
that was
fair.
kind of like big issue, is that when we've had something now, which is, it's not making it so much out of comedic value, but is actually just, it's not trying, it's acting, and that's how it should be, as if it's just another regular straight sex song. It's acting like it fucking belongs, which it does.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst this is just shock value, and it's kind of a done job. It was done with Ram Ranch, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I guess I kind of still like I like the tones of the instrumentals. Like it's a again another pop punk emo kind of thing, but I think it works well enough. But even beyond that, the just the tone of it, like it works. It's a fine, acceptable kind of mainstream attempt, even if it is shock value esque of just like making this a thing that you just hear about.
Yeah.
Now, we do be spending a lot on this kind of compilation here, so I'm gonna have to request that we kind of keep moving on.
Yeah,
On
I
this.
just want to say in the last thing,
Yeah.
we talked in the last episode about, even though it's a shit post doesn't mean you can't take it seriously. I think that applies here too.
That is fair. That is fair.
Yeah.
All right, now we go into the section that I tried to be, at least this part should be a little more obfuscating and picking someone that was truly unknown. And,
I'm going to request, because we got artists here
yes,
that repeat, that we kind of just cover them together.
Yeah, so Christian Kahn, track 7, and then track 10.
And honestly, when I found track 7 first, because I just searched up the word "Count My Fears" and a Christian Kahn thing came up, and I just like clicked it, and it was the song. So I was like, all right, we found it, because I thought that was what the fucking title of the song was. It turned out to be the title of the song.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know for a fucking while though that Intentions was also Christian Kahn, because those are two completely different songs.
Yeah, I guess briefly to just give a little context to this one. This is a guy I just found on Bandcamp. I think it was because he put his debut album on Bandcamp like way later than it was originally released, because he did like an emo rap album in 2019,
Oof.
and then I guess he put it out later. I was like, okay, there might be something to this. Let me just follow this and see what happens. And then like a couple weeks later, he put out Intentions, and I'm like, okay, he's trying to rebrand. This is interesting. I want to keep tabs on this. And then Count My Fears came out. It's like, okay, all right, sure.
I like Intentions. I don't really care for Count My Fears, but I like Intentions. I don't think it's a groundbreaking song in its lyricism. I painted my sky the color of your eyes. I just wanted you to see me. It itself in a line is kind of cheesy in a bad way, but I think the vocal flows and the way that it's sung is actually kind of catchy. I like the instrumentation on it. It's not a groundbreaking song in any means, but for someone that is basically just a Bandcamp artist, it's alright actually. I don't mind it.
Yeah, this isn't quite Gnosis is Alive, where I just kind of wanted to pick it just to see what y'all thought. I was kind of like, see, please like it. And this is more like,
Yeah. Probably like it more than that song more than anything of Gnosis is Alive, but it's not really like a whole sending any hate to any of it. I think they're artists that probably have a ceiling that they've reached, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that's just as a solo artist. I would like to see what they could do with other people in a more expansive sound. I don't think they really have much more to go for with just themselves, but I guess we'll see. Maybe one of them will prove me absolutely wrong one day, and they'll be selling out stadiums in 20 years.
We'd love to see that. And it's like, I don't know, what is the ceiling limit to hit? Because like I said, this guy's going from emo rap to doing this, and I think there's a lot more, from what little I've listened, there's a lot more intentionality, there's a lot more heart, I think, in doing Intentions, Count My Fears. Even if Count My Fears is a bit more DIY.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's just, yeah, I with the context that he used to do emo rap, because I didn't really get into any of the context of any of the previous stuff on here. I think that's a nice change. It's definitely a daring change to do, to go from hip hop to more pop rock.
Yeah.
Because whilst I could tell there was a bit of an emo tinge on Intentions, it's still mostly a pop rock song.
Yeah, I think he mentioned going for like an alt rock vibe, and it's like, okay, yeah, sure, you
Mhm.
got it. You're getting there.
Mm.
But sandwiched in between these two tracks is the kind of the centerfold, in a sense, of the whole track list. Tracks 8 and 9. We got nouns again.
Yeah. I was gonna say before you start spoiling this whole Dominic, we need to still ask Trix what she
Oh,
thought they were, but now you're just going ahead and spoiled it.
Yeah,
But I'm just
had no
say
idea.
this is the one I've got an issue with you on here, Dominic, because this isn't two singles. This is released together.
yeah, but is it an
In
EP? Is it an
lonely.
album? Is it a single?
It looks like a little EP.
It's
24
2 tracks.
minutes.
Yes, it's two
Yeah,
tracks though.
yeah. So
I
24-minute EP. That's the 2 tracks.
I said there was a complete work in here.
I mean, I've seen many times when there's been albums that are just 2 tracks.
Yes, I don't know. It reminds me
One,
of
one of
the
your favorites says one track Domino.
it reminds me of the okay cool songs in the spare room scenario, where it's just like a little thing they put out. Like this is different, and this is kind of Noun's return from taking a time off, but it's not exactly an album. It can be an EP. It's something in between to me.
There's so much shit that happens in it. I believe it's an EP. I don't think this is singles. I think this is an EP. It's very varied in what each song does. It looks like each song basically has parts.
Yeah,
And it's supposed to kind of be like a side A and a side B, despite it being obviously 2 completely different lengths in there. I only managed to give this whole mixtape as much of a listen as I could, so I couldn't tell you every fucking moment that happens in one of these, because Nouns is one of those artists that in which a lot happens, but you have to really kind of focus on everything that fucking happens.
Oh yeah, like the opening to Dustin is like where he has that really raspy voice, and then it kind of goes hard for a bit, then it kind of cools off. And Sadakio
Or
has
the
some
opening to
moments,
Sada Kyo starts off and has a couple moments like it where it sounds like a cry rank song.
and then it kind of later on has some of those breakdowns that are really fucking good.
Mm.
Like we talk about screamo and like hardcore, there are definitely moments of that kind of interspersed throughout this EP or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But it's all kind of mixed into this kind of thing of grief, I guess. Because if you look at the Bandcamp, it's largely just stories about the people that he's known in his life that have died, and like his friends and whatnot. And this is, I guess, tracks that are meant to kind of process that grief and show it, display it.
Mm.
And so, bringing you along, making you feel the grief. This is kind of the result. And then it leads into Wall of Unsound Mind.
Yeah.
Which yeah, it's a bit more understanding this context, like the whole sound that was going into that album and the whole context. I'll probably have to give this this kind of EP, I'm going to call it, a more proper listen down the line.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for now it's like it's a really interesting 24 minutes, but there's just so much to process that when you're processing other stuff, it's kind of just hard to actually remember all of it. And it's not that it's immemorable; it's just that in the context of all of it, I just needed more time to actually do this. So like,
It's a huge detail.
Probably get us to pick it again at some point, and when I can actually give a lot more in depth into it, because I think out of all of it, it's the one that deserves it.
Yeah, I'd be down to cover it again. Absolutely. But this is kind of the part where I thought, like, if I were to put this at the beginning and the end, I think that the playlist would also work in an interesting way.
Yeah.
Or to split here, but I didn't. But I still think it's rather interesting.
Yeah.
Trying to move it along, I guess. Tracks 11 and tracks 15.
Before you say the fucking artist this time, Dominic. Chicks. Yeah, did you write any notes or anything on here?
No notes.
All right, well, 11 and 15 are Aidan Alexander again.
All right, makes sense. Did not know that.
And like we kind of covered them already. But I will say Lullaby is, I think, the only track I had on here that I've kept in the same place throughout my whole figuring this out.
And I will say that my comment of it's Aidan Alexander again is basically my thoughts on this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like his voice. I think he's interesting, and not like terribly like, award-winning. Like, oh my god, he's like a genius type of thing. But I like his voice. I don't know. He's pretty.
All right, number 12. This is this is the part where Trix will probably get pissed when they can't remember who this is. But I'm gonna ask you, anyways, Trix. Do you have any idea which artist this might be? On track number 12. I'll give you 20 seconds to go into the file. You give it a quick listen as well, and go back and give it because else you might be really pissed. And whilst that is going on, I do want to thank Dominic for creating this little playlist. I think this is one of the funnest little mini games that we've had during a week, especially after fucking One Main G, where this is a bit more getting emotionally invested into different artists and finding out what the fucking songs are and stuff like that. It was a bit funner than 9.5 hours of Mac DeMarco. And I come from that and liking Mac DeMarco. So.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Well, okay.
I'll let Dominic say it.
This is the other song I saw, and I was like, I wish I could cover this too, because this is Netherwalker's Dying King Weeps for Mercy.
Gotcha, Netherwalker. I should have gotten that, but
Yep.
Because I was just like, they had two songs, and you picked the one with Chowder, but this other song is just there. And I was just like, why can't we just cover this too?
So I picked this one actually pretty early as well out of all the picks on here, because basically I was just like hearing all this screamo. It's not really screamo, just screaming heavy metal shit, black metal, whatever you want to fucking call it.
It's deathcore.
Deathcore, that's the term. And I was like, didn't we cover something very similar like this very recently? And I'm like, oh yeah, what if it's this artist? Yeah, it is. That was it. You thought this one would take me a while, but we really haven't covered much out of this genre.
No, we haven't.
I'm pretty sure Netherwalker's the only deathcore we've covered.
No, we covered that one. We covered that one Russian album, kind of. That was kind of. It was not exactly this, but it was closer.
Yeah, that actually popped up on my forgotten favorites on YouTube Music, like right now. I'm not even lying.
Smuda, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually like this Netherwalker song more than the Chowder one.
Yeah, I don't really care. It's not my genre, so I'm not really equipped to talk about it, to be honest. It's going into it as an outsider to deathcore or that shit. I probably feel the same as I did on the Chowder song.
That's fair. I know. I just kind of remember the riffs more and kind of just the way it goes more.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right. Then let's see. It's 10, 12, 13. This one's a tricky one for artists.
Yeah, so this one, I hated myself for taking as long as it did when I finally figured out what it was, but I figured it out pretty quickly after I'd listened to the lyrics. I'm like, okay, yep, no, I know what song it is. But it didn't sound like the fucking artist. But I was still I was at the point where I was just looking to see if there was any, like, I was searching up who had covered the song, all that shit, any of the artists that were already in here and there. And then I finally found one that matched and listened, and I was like, wait, holy shit, this is them?
Yeah.
So Trix, since you won't get either of them, we've covered both of these artists before.
Yeah.
The first thing, what it's the cover of? It's a cover of the song Treehouse by Alex G.
Okay.
You want to know who's covering it?
Who?
Charlie Cosgrove.
Oh, shit.
Sounds fucking nothing like them in the vocals, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so distinctive to get them from Don't Lick the Swingset that I was so fucking surprised at this one. I hadn't heard this before.
Yeah, it was released in like December, I think, on their Bandcamp. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And if you look, it's just a guy with just pissed pants. It's
Alex G's pissed pants photo. Okay,
fair enough. I had never seen the actual photo itself to actually know, but yes. Yeah, it's a really interesting thing, and on the Bandcamp, Lucas talks about how his mother was basically the guidance counselor for Alex G and Emily Yacina.
Huh.
That's cool.
And so it's a little dedication to her and that weird connection that they have.
Yeah.
And it's also a really nice cover. I think they do it pretty well in their style. I like kind of like the almost genre switch that it seems to have halfway through as they kind of go into more the Carly Cosgrove sound halfway through it, but really nice little cover. I don't think it's a best cover of all time type of deal, but I think it's still a good cover.
Yeah.
Like it, thumbs up.
It sounds like a Death Cab song is what it is.
Fuck. I see that. I see that.
That's he sounds like the guy from Death Cab, which is amazing.
So I don't know if I can unhear that now. I think you've blown my mind.
But while I also keep blowing your mind, let's move on to the next track.
In the corner. Apologies for all that.
We're back to You're Pretty. This is Keep Riding Me. I'm not gonna pretend it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is the original song that came out.
This is. We're really getting out of the closet with this one, boys.
Yeah.
This is. I tell you what. With the other ones, I wasn't quite sure. I'll go on to this. You could convince me to listen to. You can convince me that this person is gay from this song alone, because this is the gayest shit I've ever heard. And we listen to Montero. We listen to Montero. This was at such a point where it beat irony. I don't think you can claim this to be ironic or satire when you go this much into it. I think there has to be some truth to it.
Yeah. Is it gayer than Andrew Tate singing Mariah Carey?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like I found this through gay TikTok.
Gotcha.
I also remember Trix that if you mention that being gay, you might have to claim Andrew Tate as one of them. Who wants to claim Andrew Tate as anything?
Other than a sex offender?
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah.
Yeah,
the sex offenders of America chanting "One of us, one of us."
Literally singing this in gay TikTok and being like, "Oh, does this song really exist?" And sure enough, it did. But when I found that out, I don't think the other songs have been out yet, because this was like this is from 2021. The other two came out last year.
Gotcha.
This is something of a song. That's all I can really tell you. This is I wasn't quite sure how to feel for a bit on it, but then. You know, it just didn't slow. It kept going. It hit my spot. Kind of took a while, and it was a bit of like I wish it would do more. This one, I almost wished it would do less. So
yeah.
Good job.
Yeah,
good job.
In 50 years, you'll remember it fondly. You'll sing along lightly in the car.
In 60 years, it's got to be the new national anthem.
Hopefully, God, we can only hope.
Yeah.
You're Pretty's lasting effort. The original purpose of its intentions, creation. Just this shit.
And now we're on to the final song out of all this. Yeah, we've talked about this one for a while, Dominic.
That's fine because I don't have a lot to say about the others.
The last song on here, very obviously, Childish Gambino's "This Is America."
Yeah, the only one I've got in hindsight, I guess. I wasn't sure if it was a remix or the original because I gotta be honest, I just haven't really listened to the song.
I think it's a bit kind of like a whole it wasn't a part of any release kind of memory. It's been 5 years and it was a huge song. You would assume that it was a part of a release, but no, it's one of the kind of big moments in music, in just music history now, where it kind of signified the death of the album as a commercial aspect and the kind of rise of the single being the whole commercial aspect. Because This Is America was not tied to anything else other than the music video.
And I think the music video really helps elevate it.
And remember, there were other stuff that was released. There was an EP that was released very quickly alongside it. There was this whole Untitled thing. I forgot what the actual album was called as well. That had one of the other singles on there as well. So not all the other singles and stuff were completely ignored or anything like that. This Is America was just a single.
Yeah,
it was never made to have an album. So I always give credit. I think it's fine to have singles that are made just to be singles. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. Yeah. I don't think Childish Gambino created the trend of the single rising or anything like that, nor do I think popularized it. But I think for just how popular this was, it signifies this kind of period of time. That's not all that the song does, but it definitely symbolizes that period of time where we basically swapped over from albums being the kind of more commercial commercial release that you would do for music to just singles. Yeah, because remember, Scorpion got released this year as well, and that was another another big thing where that album was basically a bunch of singles. It was all getting the streaming stuff, but it wasn't actually really an album.
And weirdly enough, this playlist covers the last 5 years, just like One Lane G does.
Incredible.
Fuck.
This is a 2018 song, and the oldest one here, and I think it fits in well with everything else for how different it is.
I'm just glad I graduated high school in 2017 because apparently a lot of high school assignments were about this song and like how it ties into like racial injustice and whatnot, and so many people were just sick of it.
I'm sure, and this was like the Grammy Song of the Year, this Record of the Year. This was the song of 2018.
Tell you what, it was theorized that it was going to win the Hottest 100 of 2018 from quite early onto it, and I believe. I'm going to check the actual predictions list because this is the kind of crazy part, but I think it was actually number 2 on the predictions list. If I go check 2018 right now, to not make a complete dick of myself. Yeah, it was number 2. The one that beat it on the predictions and ended up winning was Ocean Alley's Confidence, which was always going to be the competitor. But the crazy part is that This Is America came 4th in 2018 in the Hottest 100.
Huh.
Yeah.
What else was there?
Well, number 3, I'm pretty sure was Sicko Mode, and number 2 was Fisher's Losing It.
Okay.
Which, in hindsight, makes a lot of sense because that one also got nominated for the Grammys.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest kind of house fucking tracks, or whatever you want to call it, trap, whatever, songs that got released in Australia. So it makes actual sense in hindsight. But then it was kind of fucking crazy because no one expected This Is America to not win.
And I can imagine it not winning as much in other countries that are not America because it's not like we changed it to This Is Australia.
Well, Childish Gambino was popular in Australia since
because
before the internet. Yeah, because of the internet. Yeah, so it's not. This wasn't a case of like people don't care because This Is America. It was a case of people cared because it was Childish Gambino.
Yeah, I'm the only Childish Gambino song I'm really familiar with, I'm going to be honest, is Redbone, and that's just because it sampled Portrait of Tracy.
3005 is still a banger.
I never really got much into Childish Gambino. This is like the song that I knew the most because it was just everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I watched a lot of Community when it was on. So
I actually discovered Donald Glover through his stand-up before anything else.
Right.
So,
but I will say I do think that without the music video, there is a little bit lost. I think the added weight of the video and the sound effects and everything really drive the message home versus like.
Oh yeah, the actual song itself is just it's just a kind of average trap song. The music video itself is a fucking really incredibly done music video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it should be consumed as its own art. It's not really as a song on its own, but as a visual music video. Yeah. A visual audio one.
Yes.
It's a music video. It is, in its sense, a music video.
Yeah. And I think that's another reason why covering it here works just as well, because when else are we going to just talk about this as like a visual art piece? Like we could do it with one of his albums, but it's such an important part of his career that it's hard to really sandwich with anything else, I feel like.
Has anyone seen that image? It was really popular on Reddit like the day after the music video came out, and it's just Donald Glover pointing on a map, and it just This Is America.
I
feel like
haven't, but I can picture it.
I just remember everyone was doing that fucking dance.
Yeah.
And then they also do some kind of like TikTok dances, I think, in the video too, which is kind of ironic and funny.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point, though.
Yeah, but it's like seeing that now is just like wow, it's kind of amazing how far we've come and how far we haven't.
Yep, everything is different, but nothing changes.
Yeah,
and it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, everyone kind of looked at it and were like, "Yay, this is really important." And then Sicko Mode came out.
Yeah,
I don't actually know what the chronological order of those are. Anyway, that is the mixtape though.
That is the mixtape. I think This Is America is like the best example of like what art in the Trump era was like. That's what I went with.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well we got some shockers from the Trump era. There were both sides of politics, if you want to say an actual both sides, is we got some actual sockers. Let's never forget La Tigre's I'm With Her. That was a terrible one, but Ursa doesn't fucking beat Tom McDonald's. Ugh.
Yeah. But this is a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the playlist. We spent an hour talking about this, but I'm glad we did.
This is a fun little mini game. I don't know if I can really rank this in the albums because this is a compilation of your pick songs, but it's a nice little playlist.
It is.
No one can listen to it except for the actual singles, but I'm sure Dominic will post a playlist link in the description, won't you?
I can do that. Yeah.
Anyway, favorites on this. Treehouse is one of them. Intentions I'll give up for being unfortunately count my list.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think I died for a second. Can you repeat after Treehouse what you were saying?
So favorites. Treehouse. I Spat, Blood of God, Don't Like the Swingset. Kind of Celebrate Spink, Intentions. Those are my favorites. Least favorite. Probably either I'll Never Let You Go or Count My Fears.
All right. For me, I'll say favorites are probably Hit My Spot, This Is America, Can the Sub Bass Speak. I think my least favorite is probably I Spat Blood at God, or maybe Lullaby. I think Lullaby is like the worst of the Aidan Alexander tracks, and I Spat Blood at
Lullaby
God.
can go. Yeah, Lullaby can go there as well.
Again, that was a situation. There's 3 tracks to put on here. I'm just gonna fucking do it. But I Spat Blood at God. I wish it was better, just because I want Sonic Book to succeed, and it's good. It's not bad, but it's just like it's all right.
Anyway. Shall we move on to
anything you want to say for that?
Favorites are tracks 4 and 5. Least favorite is track 15.
Okay. I also really like the noun stuff.
Alright, let's move on to some of the stuff that we got little to say about, and I'm going to start this off by picking 2021 for us to go on.
Yes.
Chicks, how come it's cool when they do it, but it's not cool when I do it?
The double hell deathmatch?
Yeah.
I didn't think this was cool. This was just something I found at random, and I thought it'd be fun to subject you guys to.
Yeah, this is outside of music, and it's this is just outside of music.
Oh fuck! Jesus Christ, cat! Sorry. He just fucking attacked my feet.
Oh god.
Never fucking pick this again.
I wasn't.
The cat has spoken.
Yeah. This I found by just do you guys remember that Chris Hansen pop punk band meme I posted a while back?
Long time ago.
Not exactly.
It was just like it was just Chris Hansen saying, "What makes me think you're gonna not step outside of that door and not start another pop punk band?" And I'm like, how come pop punk pedophiles isn't a fucking noisecore band or something like that? And popped in pop punk pedophiles into the YouTube music search function and found this album.
I will say there was very little to talk about on this album. I think there are some elements that I think are exactly for you. That fucking bass solo that's just randomly in there.
Well, that's you know what that's an homage to, right?
No, what?
Not too sure, but
Anesthesia pulling teeth off of "Kill 'Em All" by Metallica.
Oh,
okay.
It opens with bass solo, take 1.
But there is legitimately not much to talk about on this record because I think there's just a lot of nothing that's coming from basically what is a very obscure outsider artist. It doesn't seem like this person really knows too much about production or theory or anything outside of what they know. But there is surprisingly one song on here which is actually surprisingly engaging, and I will give the praise to, and that is "Do Not Pick Up Hitchhikers."
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Where I actually like that there's this kind of almost reflection of just where society is at, or anything like that. That seems very kind of simplistic. It's minimalistic, but has that kind of reflection that goes into this. This whole kind of we will passing up a sign near a prison that says "Do not pick up hitchhikers."
Yeah,
it's a kind of pretty funny. It's like nearly story based kind of little thing. It's a very simple diddle basically of a song. and I like it. I actually kind of like the story in it. It's
Yeah.
not my favorite song of the week or anything like that. Don't get me fucking wrong, but it's the one moment on this album which I went and said, "Okay, I actually do think there is some potential in this person."
Yeah,
And that's
I
about
can
as
see
much
that.
praise as I can give to this, because everything else on this album was basically just, it was like listening to my work.
Yeah.
Except the person has lyrics in it.
I just need to mention that this is literally a compilation of everything this guy did in 2021. That's why it's called 2021.
Yes.
And it's laid out chronologically, except for the covers that he did, pretty much. And it's just breaking down like each thing. Like, yes, Don't Pick Up Hitchhikers was a single. Then like the extended ambient part you get after that for like seven tracks. That's like its own EP, right? Of like Arcology, Came Down Here to Squad of Nine, all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And like so that's its own little arc of stuff. You have all these little arcs here and there. If we're talking about like moments, I guess Tarnished Trumpet kind of does for me a little bit of what Do Not Pick Up Hitchhikers does for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the added context that this guy is like 35 with kids and stuff, and he's like in a small town in Missouri, and he's trying to like do the thing and make his passion come true. I get that.
Yeah.
And he's trying, right? It's the your arms are like a cocoon thing of recording in your car when you have a moment.
Yeah, but I think your arms on my cocoon have a bit more music theory in there,
Sure, but like
which
you
just
know,
brings them up a little bit.
some of the stuff here, it's kind of just like there's like jokes. You can barely understand what's being like the first track, the RDOD,
Mm-hmm.
or track 15. I was in a pop punk band in the 2000s, and all I got was my name added to the sex offender registry.
Yeah.
Like that's
Great
just like,
title.
yeah, but there's like 20 seconds of just like.
Well, there's
Yeah.
actually lyrics to it, and I think it's like talking about, because I'll read them to you right now. Emotionally stunted, a childlike understanding. Should have stayed back in high school. Fucked up power dynamic. We read all your lyrics. Pedophile apology. Your fans and all your family wish they never known you. When I heard about Jesse, it wasn't that surprising. When I heard about Brendan, it wasn't that surprising. When I heard about Ian, sick to my fucking stomach. When I heard about Conley, it wasn't that surprising.
Basically, yeah.
This is one of the few moments where I wish the lyrics were more intelligible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the Ian is a reference to Ian Watkins of Lost Prophets fame.
Oh.
That's... Yeah, I try to forget the name of that person.
Yeah, I just had to look it up, so.
Fair enough.
But
I don't have much else to say about this. I think this is a cool little find. This person's probably going to be very happy that someone's actually covering that music.
Yeah, there's a good chance we could get him on the podcast just for shits and giggles.
Probably.
I mean, it could be nicer
I
than
think there's
that.
potential in the person, because I don't hate anything that I'm listening to here. I just don't find a lot of it interesting yet.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I did like kind of how it ended. I think Talk About Suffering was a decent little rendition of that song, and it was surprising that it was more gospel influence, which threw me off at first. And his attempt at doing Sludge Metal Christmas was good. I liked it for what it is. Like it was like hearing some sludge metal was fine. I think this is very much a Trix pick.
Yeah.
But, you know.
He talks about the Melvins a lot. It's fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, for what this album is, I can see why you picked it. I can see why this appeals to you. But, like...
Yeah, this was my shooting for third pick.
I don't know if you'll get third, though, from me.
Damn.
Okay, so you really hate our next record. I'm not going to give a favorite or least favorite, because it's kind of hard to do on this one, by the way. I'm using the term plunder.
I said what
Except
I
for
like
the
the
favorite
most.
being... Yeah, the best one's the Hitchhiker one.
My least
So-
favorite's probably PRDOD.
So your third then is going to be the one that I picked, Jerome's Dreams new record. I already forgot what it's fucking called. I kind of just
Between.
picked this on a whim. Yeah,
I
the Gray in
think this would be
Between.
my number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's number one by association. Basically, so I picked this on a whim, basically, because someone just pinged me as we were selecting albums, saying to listen to this. I'm like, all right, fuck you. I'll fucking pick it for this week, then give it a couple listens. And it's I'm not so much into the whole vocal performance on this. I wish everything was a bit more intelligible on it. I don't think it's one of those ones with the fast screaming words in it. But I really fucking dig the instrumentation on this.
I did not. I thought a lot of it was very similar and very just the same. Like
It's a very
first
short
3 tracks.
album, which when it benefits into that. But I think there's some similarity, but I think it flows well in here, and I think there's
it's those moments where the things sound different that helps them stand out.
Yes, that's true. I was just so unenthused by everything else I heard that it's just like,
That's fair.
even if I didn't exactly like 2021, I at least could tell you about different songs in it, and like I could tell you about the parts that I liked and didn't like. I could kind of tell you that, like, yeah, I like the parts in the Gray in Between where they didn't do the screamo part. Like, I liked Cosmos and Season. I liked the other time when they took a break. And I think
Now I've
like,
got to
Pines on the
search
Hill
something
is
as
probably
well
the best
here.
of the screamo songs, I will say. But yes,
I'm trying to search for genres here on Rate Your Music in the Screamo, because I'm pretty sure this has actually gotten up pretty high on the fucking thing. No, actually I was trying not to say say it and make a fool out of myself. But top ranked album, number 1, The Gray in Between, Jerome's Dream on Rate Your
I
Music.
wish
for
I could
Screamo.
understand better. Because I think every other screamo track we listened to this week has been better.
I can't tell you how fucking Rate Your Music goes, but that's still a fucking achievement.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. I think Nouns I still did it better.
I like the opening track on this one the most out of everything on here, because I think it's the song that probably goes the most ambitious and does quite a lot in 2 minutes and 50 seconds, even if you might not think it does.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's enough moments on here where just the instrumentation is what carries this album the most, in which it's subtle, but it does these changes, and it does it in these really nice little ways that make it kind of it's the word I like to use when you like to praise something but don't know why. It fucks.
It fucks.
It fucks.
Sure.
I'd like to point out that I'm on their YouTube music page right now, and under the fans might also like, Pigs X7 is there, so that explains why I kind of like him, I guess.
I mean, Jerome's Dream, I think, is more interesting in their history, and I looked them up, of course, and they're a band from the 90s that broke up in like 2001, and then got together in like 2018 again, and they've been going ever since.
Yeah.
And I guess they've been noted for being really unique and interesting and developed in the screamo space, and I wish I could understand it and get it. It's like, I feel like this makes me seem like I'm really anti-screamo or really anti this genre by being like this, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I really like when it's emotional and it hits. Like that's why I've championed Your Arms Are My Cocoon. That's why I really like Nouns. You know, they really make the screaming make sense.
I don't know if I'd personally say this is the greatest screamo album of all time, as Rate Your Music has basically said, but I still like this record. Maybe you're alright. Maybe Your Arms Are My Cocoon is more out there and deserving of that spot. I mean, things are just how they are. I think this is a record that's more carried just by its fucking riffs, and just when honestly, if this was an instrumental album, I'd probably like it more, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's not that I really hate the vocals. It's just that I'm not into them on this record. Maybe one day I'll come back and say that. I do agree. I think this album can be a bit of a blender, despite being pretty short. But I still think it's I don't know. It when it fucks, it fucks. That's about as much of a review as I can give on this.
Yeah.
You're all right. It is a very quick album to talk about.
It's quick, but sometimes quick isn't bad. But this time, it's quick in a way where it just comes and goes, and I kind of hated listening to it sometimes because it was just so. It was giving me so little.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's fair. That's a fair take. But yeah, they're an artist that kind of just were there in 2005, broke up for a while back here.
They were in the 90s. They were around, not 2005.
Yeah, 90s.
It looks like they're like a sort of super group in a way.
Yeah, they were doing some other stuff in the meantime.
Like I'm seeing Joyce Manor referenced, page 99.
You know, I think some of those bands were around, like, were doing stuff when they were doing stuff. They were touring with.
Discovered on emo violence, which is another fucking term for the type of sound that they are, which I think is a bit more fairer than screamo, to be honest.
Yeah,
sure.
It's an album, man. I like it. I think if you're into these types of sounds, you can learn a lot more subtleties than we learn, and maybe there's a lot of other stuff that we'll have to listen to get to that. And I don't know if we'll ever have the time to, but yeah, I mean, for what fucks, it fucks. I can't tell you more than that. If you're into emo violence, screamo, heavy
heavy emo, whatever. It's emo. That's about as much as I can tell you, man.
Yeah.
You'll probably like this.
If,
I mean,
if,
it's
if you like heavy riffs, listen to it.
there's some. I remember Screamo goes back a long way as well. We could start going fucking emo copy pasta and talk about Rites of Spring.
Yeah.
I mean, if you give us a long enough time, you give us a long enough runway, you let us cook enough, I'm sure we could get to all the important pieces that'll make us appreciate this album a lot more in 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be looking in 2028. We'll be looking at this, being like, "Ah, yeah, that album fucks."
And I'll be like, "God damn, I was wrong." I'd like to.
But
I'd like to believe that.
For now, I think it's a fair take. I think there's a lot more I have to listen to before I fully appreciate this. From now, I'm just like, yeah, I like some of the moments on it. It is a bit of a blender, I will admit, though.
Yeah.
All right, so that's this week.
Yeah, it's really mostly just that little playlist.
Yeah.
It worked out. This could have been 30 minutes otherwise.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, shall we do favorites, least favorites?
Oh, favorites on Jerome's Dream. Favorites is the opener, Conversations in Time on Mute. That one's gonna be in my playlist for the fucking year. Least favorite, I don't know, probably something like Pines on the Hills or like Cosmos and Seasons or anything. One of those ones in the middle is a bit.
My favorites are Cosmos and Seasons, Off the Oceans. My least favorite is probably something like AAEEAA.
Honestly, one of my favorites is I'm just gonna call it the AAEAA. It had some fun riffs.
Now to rank this.
And no least favorites.
Okay.
I'll do a quick ranking because I'm not ranking the playlist because it's a playlist. So it's 2 albums I'm ranking. 2021 is the least I enjoyed less than The Grey in Between.
Yeah.
I enjoyed, my least favorite was Jerome's Dream. I like 2021 more. And if we're going to mention the playlist at all, I will put Nouns, Lonely Place of Dying on top.
I had to listen more to Nouns before I can rank it, to be honest.
Double Hell Deathmatch at the bottom, Jerome's Dream at the top, and I'd slide the playlist in the middle there.
I mean, for planning the playlist wins for me no matter what.
Well, with that has been a week. But what are we doing next week, fellas?
Well, I can go first because I kind of revealed it, but I have a last minute idea choice for you. Do you guys want to do the 10th anniversary of Random Access Memories, or do you want to do a mystery album that I discovered while we were doing this podcast?
I think I want to do Random Access Memories.
Yeah, I want to do Random Access Memories.
Okay, Random Access Memories, 10-year anniversary it is.
Hell yeah!
Is this a special version or just the album?
It's the 10th anniversary version because it has new music that is unheard. And I have a take about Random Access Memories that I will tell you guys once we shut off the recording.
Oh god.
Fair enough. Well, I've already spoiled what I was going to do, and we're going to do one of those full discography dives again because it's not really a large discography. But also to give some peace to Trix as well, who's had a bit of some hard weeks in the work office. So we'll get up to the good old bread and butter with some nice calming surf rock. We're doing the full discography of the 3 EPs from Royal Otis.
Oh,
nice.
Fuck yeah.
Where is that? Hold on. Let me see that. Royal Otis.
Royal
Otis.
Otis.
In my pocket.
Okay.
I'll eat him for lunch.
Save him for lunch.
Save him for lunch.
Because not that he's selfish, he's just having a munch. But that smiles away.
That leaves me, and this pick I mentioned. So I was gonna pick this. This has been on my short list for a minute. I was gonna pick this either way. And then I saw an interview with Mac DeMarco this week talking about One Way and G, where he talks directly about getting inspiration from this album, specifically the titles. And
oh boy!
And this is the album 12 by Ryuichi Sakamoto.
Okay.
The composer who recently died of cancer. And this is a collection of tracks he recorded across 2021 and 2022 after major cancer surgery.
Wow.
Just like one Wayne G, they are dates.
What a way to change the fucking vibe.
Yeah.
We're here with the surf rock, man. We're ready. Oysters were in our pockets. Now you fucking
They were.
put cancer in here like it's fucking Mount Erie.
Yeah, so we got Daft Punk, we got Royal Otis, and we got a really sparse ambient album. Not all ambient, but it's definitely a composer's album. I'll say that.
Yeah.
We're going for something very different here. A lot of contrast in this next episode.
But until then,
yeah, what are these EPs called? I'm sorry.
So Bar and Grill's the first EP, Sofa Kings is the second EP, and the actual first one is in Campus.
So those are the 3 Royal Otis EPs: Random Access Memories, 10th Anniversary, and then 12 by Ryuichi Sakamoto.
Yep. Yes.
We will be doing that next week, but until then, I've been Riddlin. You can catch me on my website, riddlinforkids.github.io. I also have a YouTube channel that's linked in the description below.
I've been Tricks. Catch me on Twitter because I'm like a cockroach. I'm gonna be on that site until the bombs drop, I guess, because I don't have a Blue Sky code yet. Buy our merch. We have a clock with our logo on it on Redbubble. Check out our website and our Twitter, dissonantwaves.space, and at Dissonant Waves on Twitter. YouTube, all that stuff.
I'm Dominic. You can catch me online at DACICHOCKI on Twitter. I have a YouTube, Dominic Jacoki. If you want to go there, go there. I'm also on the Games My Mom Found podcast sometimes. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And
yeah,
that'll do it for us. Dissonantwaves.space. We're on YouTube, Twitter, blah blah blah. Good luck. Have a good week of listening, everybody, and stay random those access memories.